time, that, you know, this is all in your own will. And if you have any, need any modifications or anything, I'll try to help you with that. Or you go ahead and not do doing. And if, you know, if you have any questions about the waiver or don't want to agree to the waiver, then you can just type in the comments that you want to agree to the waiver. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
You all have a pillow and blanket to start before we start, so you can use it for a meditation part at the end. Hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
This is a perfect family night thing.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
So I'm just going to go ahead and get started since we're here. My name is Jennifer Clark, and I'm the owner and operator of Zener Mobile Yoga. My yoga business is based out of Colorado, but I'm a military spouse and we're a military family. So we have lived all over the place. And, you know, I'm originally from Illinois, and Marina is part of my family. So I'm really glad she thought of me when, you know, she wanted to offer this to you guys. So what we're going to be doing tonight is I'm just going to take a few minutes to let you know a little bit about meditation, since that will be our main focus of this hour. And then we're going to do some yoga stretches. I don't normally use the word stretches for yoga, but basically what yoga is a system of 8 different, like say, spokes on a wheel. And doing the postures or the poses, the yoga poses that you see, that's one part of it. Another part of it is the meditation. Another part of it is breathing. Another part of it is being nice to people. So there's 8 altogether, and we're gonna do 2 of the spokes on the wheel tonight. The yoga postures were actually created so you could sit down in meditation comfortably. So that's the whole reason we do yoga in the first place, is to be able to sit down in meditation and to, you know, reach bliss, say, less suffering in life. So a lot of you are probably here because you've heard a lot of good things about yoga and meditation, and you maybe have tried it already. Maybe you haven't ever tried it, but what we're going to do tonight is going to be just for complete beginners, if that's okay. Because actually, I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I still consider myself a beginner too, depending on the day. So I wanted to let you know first a couple of things of what meditation is not and what it is. So a lot of people have the conception that in meditation, you have to clear your mind. Is that something that you guys have heard before? A lot of people say they can't do meditation because they can't clear their mind. Well, you don't have to clear your mind. That's not what it's about. What it is about is training your brain to focus on just one single point. So we concentrate on the breath, and then that will kind of lead us into, you know, maybe that dream state or something like that. But that's, you know, no, we don't have expectations when we sit. Our mind is going to wander tonight when we do our sit at the end. It's okay. When it does wander, you're going to focus back on the breath. The breath is the single thing that we're going to focus on in our meditation tonight. There are actual scientific studies that tell us that when we practice meditation, even just 10 or 15 minutes a day, it actually changes areas of our brain to help us have a different response to the stress in our life. So sitting down and doing the meditation is not necessarily comfortable or fun, but what it does do is help us react to life differently when we're not sitting in meditation. Does that make sense so far? Okay. I mean, I had that misconception for a very long time. I can't empty my brain. No. So the brain is very, the brain wants something complicated to focus on. So that's why you have the hamster wheel going so often. So that's the difficult part of meditation, is we're training the brain to focus on one thing. And then when things do come up, when we do have these thoughts while we're sitting in meditation, we just observe it. Oh, that's interesting that that kind of bubbled to the surface. So we're just observing what comes to the surface. And when we get too wrapped up in what comes to the surface, oh wait, I'm gonna inhale, I'm gonna exhale. So when we do sit, it's going to be at the end. It's gonna be 20 minutes. I'm gonna make sure your body is nice and warmed up before we start. If you are uncomfortable for some reason or for any reason, feel free to just lie down on your back. So even for the kiddos, if they can even sit in our meditation for a couple of minutes, that will be excellent. So even if you go 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, it will make a difference for you. So we will get started on the mat. Are you guys ready? All right. So the biggest parts of the body that we want to warm up before we sit and meditate are the hips and the back. As Americans, we're sitting in chairs a lot. We're sitting in cars a lot. We're sitting at computers a lot. So our hips and our lower back and our hamstrings, they really it takes a toll on the body. So what we do is just going to be simple movements to help open those areas up a little bit. And an important thing that we're always going to start with in a yoga class is the breath. So all of you can start by sitting in just a regular cross-legged position. If you feel a little pressure on your lower back just sitting like this, you can take your blanket and put that under your sitting bones. And that'll just kind of lift everything up and decompress the spine. So if you could just start by maybe putting your palms up. And I'll invite you to close the eyes, but you don't have to. We're just going to take a few breaths just to get the breath going, because that's one of the important parts of yoga as well. And we'll be doing a lot of breathing while we're sitting in our meditation. So go ahead and just notice, with your eyes closed, notice how you're breathing. And this is without judgment. We just want an awareness of our body.
Us?
The way that we breathe really affects the way that we think, the way that we feel. So when you are inhaling, try to fill the belly and the chest with air. If you notice right now that you're just breathing in your chest, I'm going to just ask you to start breathing in the belly and the chest, and try to make that one big inhale, and then you'll exhale normally. We'll take 2 more breaths. And then go ahead and blink the eyes open. And we'll start by putting the right hand down on the floor, the left palm facing up. And we're going to inhale and bring the arm up. As you exhale, you're going to lean to the right, opening up the left side of the body. You'll feel a stretch, maybe all the way down to your hip. Inhale, come back to center. And then exhale, bring that hand down. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So right palm facing up. Inhale, arms straight up. Exhale, lean to the left. And then inhale, come back to center, and then bring it back down. We're going to do that one more time, but a little faster. So go ahead and lean to the right. Other side, lean to the left. And then come back to normal seated position. We're going to do a simple twist. So take your right hand, put it on the outside of the left knee if you can. Just try to get it anywhere on your left leg. You're going to bring your left fingertips behind you. And then as you inhale, you're going to lift the chest And it's like somebody's pulling a string through the crown of your head or the top of your head. And then when you breathe out or exhale, you're gonna twist, bringing that left shoulder back. And then find your breath here. We don't wanna hold the breath. A lot of us, like me included, have a tendency to hold the breath. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, come back to center. We're gonna do the same exact thing on the other side to warm up the spine. So right fingertips behind you, grab the right knee with your left hand, inhale, lengthen, get tall in the spine, and then exhale, begin to twist to the right. Even as you're sitting here, if you have pretty tight hips, you might be feeling a stretch in the hips right now, the lower back. We're releasing those muscles in the lower back. Take one more inhale. And then exhale, come back to center. All right, so you can remove the blanket if you have a blanket. You're gonna come to hands and knees. So this is gonna be our cat pose. And when you think about yoga, you think a lot about flexibility. That's all great and that's fine, but when I'm 75 years old, I wanna be able to unload the dishwasher without throwing my back out. So keeping the spine flexible is actually the important thing about yoga. So this is one of the postures that's gonna help with that. This is called the cat pose, and the kids that are joining us can make the cat noise if they want to. When you inhale, you're gonna raise your tail and lift the gaze, lift your head just a little bit, and drop the spine, so relax the back. And then when you exhale, you're gonna tuck your tailbone, drop your head, and then we're gonna keep doing that. But you do it with the pace of your own breath. Inhale, drop the belly towards the floor. And then exhale, arch the back. Really press the hands and the feet into the mat. One more time, inhale. You might even get a little bit of cracking in your back, and that's completely normal. Exhale, round the back. Drop the head. And then come back to a neutral spine. So we're gonna come into a child's pose from here. Bring your big toes together, bring your knees apart, and sit back on your heels. This might be a difficult pose for some people if you have knee problems. If you do, you can just shift forward. If you need to put a blanket under your knees, go ahead and do that. But if you're able to come back on your heels, come back on your heels and walk the hands forward. We're gonna bring that forehead down to the mat or the floor. And then you're gonna stay here for a few breaths. I'm gonna come up and talk you through this. This pose is good for stretching the feet, stretching the thighs, stretching the lower back. And I want you to just find your breath here. We're gonna take 2 more breaths. If your forehead doesn't touch the ground, you can stack your fists and rest your forehead on your fists. Good. Go ahead and lift the head. We're gonna walk the hands back just a little bit. And then we're gonna walk them to the right as far as we can. Once you walk to the right, just soften the body towards the floor. And again, getting into the hip and the low back area. Take 2 more breaths here. Go ahead and lift. Slowly walk the hands to the left. Just going as far as you can and then softening towards the floor. So when we're in a forward bend like this, it's very calming to the mind and the body. So not only are we stretching the joints, stretching the muscles, but we're also starting to tell the nervous system that it's time to quiet down. Take another breath here. And then go ahead and walk back to center. We're gonna stretch our shoulder and come into a twist. So I want you to put the right hand in the center of the mat. And then with your left hand, you're gonna inhale, bring the fingers as far up as you can. And then as you exhale, it's what we call thread the needle. We're gonna bring that arm underneath and slide it as far as you can until your head is resting on the floor. So I want you to stay there for a few breaths. Keep reaching the left fingertips. Let the head and the shoulder rest onto the floor or the mat. You might be feeling a stretch in the left shoulder joint. You're feeling a twist in the spine. On your next exhalation, go ahead and come back up to hands and knees, and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So left hand comes to the center, right arm reaches up, and then exhale, bring it under. Come as far as you can, and then the left hand is gonna just, it could press into the mat. Maybe you have the flexibility, you wanna stretch it out. Decide where your arm is comfortable here. We're gonna take a few breaths here, kind of notice where you feel the tightness in your body. This is gonna be important for learning how your meditation practice will be affected as well. And all of it is just to have a neutral awareness. Go ahead and come back to center. All right, so we're gonna come into a downward facing dog next. If you've never done one before, then this makes me really excited because I love new people coming to do yoga. I'm gonna explain it very thoroughly if you haven't done it before. You're gonna take one palm length forward. You're gonna curl the toes under, and you're gonna lift the hips up to the ceiling. Your ears are gonna line up to your inner arms, and your knees can stay as bent as they need to. A down dog does not need to be a perfect V. You can keep your knees bent because if you have tight hamstrings, they're gonna stay bent anyways, and that's okay. Maybe you walk out, what we call walking the dog. You pedal the feet, just kind of alternate, pressing the heel to the mat. I'm gonna take this for a couple more breaths. And then we're gonna come back to stillness. So go ahead and stop walking your dog here. And we're gonna take the right foot forward. So there's two ways to come into this lunge that we're gonna do. You can start by dropping to your knees to bring your foot forward. Or if you're able to just bring the foot forward, you can do that, okay? So I'll give you a minute to get into your lunge. Nice, very good. All right. So first we're just gonna soften that hip flexor towards the mat. The biggest part of when you are in a seated meditation, a lot of people feel it in the hips, they feel it in the outer hips or the deep muscles in the glutes. So we're gonna hit all of those points. So just soften that left hip flexor towards the mat. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. And then we're gonna press all four corners of this front foot into the ground. And then we're gonna inhale and bring the arms up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. One more time like that. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Good. Bring your hands back down to the mat. Curl the back toes under. Lift the back knee. And then we're gonna come back to downward facing dog. However you have to get your leg back there is just fine. We're gonna take a breath in our downward facing dog, and then we're gonna bring the left leg forward. So go ahead and bring the left leg forward. We're gonna do the same thing on this side that we did on the other side. Take note here of, there's gonna be differences in the body. So for me personally, my right leg, I have an injury, so my right hip flexor is always gonna be a little tighter than the left. It's just something that I'm aware of in the body. Take another breath here. And then go ahead. We're going to shift the weight back a little bit. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. This is a balancing pose. So if you find a focus point on the floor and use your breath, that will help you balance. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Good. Go ahead and bring the hands back down. Return to downward facing dog however you need to. If you have to come to hands and knees first and bring that up, go ahead and do that. Take a breath in your downward facing dog. And at any time you can come out of this, or you can go back to that resting pose, that child's pose, just to stretch there. When you're ready, go ahead and start to walk the feet forward. We don't want to come up too quickly because our head is upside down. So we're going to bring our hands to our shins and try to get a nice flat back here. Take a breath. We're going to bring our hands to our thighs with the elbows pointing back. We're going to take a breath here. Nice flat back. And then we're going to slightly bend the knees. Inhale, bring the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Good. And then I'm going to face you. Is everybody doing okay so far? If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments because I can see the comments. It's something you can, I'll wait around till the end if you have questions too. All right, so we're just going to come into this standing pose for a moment. This is called our mountain pose. We're going to inhale, bring the arms up. You're going to grab the left wrist with your right hand, and you're going to exhale and lean to the right. Inhale, come back to center. Grab the right wrist with your left hand. Exhale, lean to the left. And if you get yoga dyslexia, that's okay because that happens when we're mirroring each other on a screen. So whatever side you do first, it doesn't matter as long as you do both sides evenly. Go ahead and inhale, bring the arms up. We're going to interlace the fingers. Exhale and bring the hands in front of the heart. 2 more breaths like that, opening up the lungs. Inhale. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. 1 more time. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Go ahead and separate the feet. We're not going to, we're only going to do a couple of standing poses and then we're going to bring it back down to the ground. But for here, go ahead and take your right toes and point them out 90 degrees. So your right toes are going to be out 90 degrees. And then your back toes will be in just a little bit. So you drop the heel just a little bit. We're going to come into a triangle pose. So if this is your first triangle pose, just do the best that you can. Go ahead and keep the front leg straight. We're going to shift our hips to the left. So just push on that right hip crease. And you're going to feel a stretch in the back of your leg. That's why I wanted to do this pose. It's really good for stretching the back of the leg and the hip. Now reach your right arm out as far as you can. Try to get really long in the upper body. And then let the hand drop wherever it's supposed to. Keep your hand on the shin, on the inside of the leg. If you can go down to the foot or grab the toes, go ahead and do that. But being on the shin is just fine. And then we're going to rotate the shoulders open so they're stacked on top of each other. And then maybe you bring your left fingertips up to the ceiling. If this is not comfortable for your neck, you can look down or you can keep your hand just like this. We're going to take another breath here. Good. Now you're going to look down at your foot. You're going to bend this front knee. You're going to put your forearm on top of that leg. And then you're going to bring your left arm up and over. So we're doing a long side stretch here. Press your feet into the mat to help keep you up. 1 more breath. Good. Now press both of your feet and see if you can pop yourself up. Bring the right toes in. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So left toes out, triangle pose first. Deepen the left hip crease. So just take your fingers and push into that crease where your leg bends. Or I should say where your torso bends over your leg. Good. Now reach with your left fingertips and then drop your hand wherever it lies. Stack the shoulders like you're between two panes of glass, and then bring your right fingertips up to the ceiling or keep them down. This is still triangle pose. The pose is whatever your body wants it to be, you know, give or take. Let the practice be your teacher. Take one more breath here. Good, one more exhalation, and then we're gonna bend that front knee. So as you exhale, bend the front knee, bring your forearm on top of the leg, and then right arm up and over. Take a long stretch in the side of the body. And then press the feet into the mat and use your strength to come back up. Bring the toes in, drop the arms, and then we're gonna go ahead and bring the feet back together. And we're not gonna do anything fancy here to get back down to the mat. We're just gonna cross the ankles and have a seat. A couple more stretches on the floor before we do our meditation. So first we're gonna bring the legs out in front of us. Again, if this hurts your lower back, you can sit on the blanket. We're gonna get nice and tall in the spine. Part of meditation is strengthening the back. You are going to feel some discomfort. If you feel pain while we are doing our seated meditation, I want you to come out of it. But if you feel discomfort, what we want to do is strengthen what needs to be strengthened and see if we can go for a long time without switching the feet or without scratching that itch, and see if those things pass over time. Okay, I'll remind you of that again when we are sitting. So see if you can take a breath or two here. Shoulders are away from the ears. This is a big part of strengthening the back muscles, which is how I actually helped get rid of my back pain. And then we're gonna go ahead and bring the right heel in towards the sitting bones. I'm gonna sit towards you. And we're gonna drop this knee out to the side. So we're gonna come into a stretch here. You just wanna make sure you close the knee joint first to protect that knee joint. So inhale, lengthen, get tall through the crown of the head, and then exhale, see if you can fold forward. Doesn't matter how far you get. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, and then tune back into the breath. This is a practice for when we are sitting in the meditation. See if you can take 3 breaths here. Focus on the inhale, and then the exhale. 2 more times. One more. And then inhale, come all the way up. Bring the right knee in. We'll straighten that out and do the same thing on the other side. So left heel to the left sitting bone. Drop that knee out to the side. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, fold forward. Maybe you're a little bit looser on this side, or maybe you're a little bit tighter. Just notice those differences. Take 2 more breaths. Last one. Inhale, come all the way up. And so this time we're going to bring both feet together. So if you're able to bring the bottoms of the feet together and let the knees hang out, just do the best you can. If your knees are all the way up here, that's okay. You're still somewhat opening the hips to the best of your ability today, and that's perfect because you're exactly where you're supposed to be. If you're able to bring the heels closer to the body, you can go ahead and do that. If you feel like you want to come forward in this pose, you can do that too. Really opening up the inner thighs. Find your breath. We're going to take one more deep inhale. And then exhale. Inhale, come all the way up. Bring the knees together and say thank you to your knees. They do a lot of work, so we want to be nice to them and bring them back together gently. And we're going to lie down on our backs and do hit a couple of areas here. So the first thing we want to do is you guys had probably done this type of stretch before. It's somewhat like a figure 4 stretch. We call it a supine pigeon in yoga. Supine is lying on your back. We're going to take the right ankle and put it on top of the left knee. And then we're going to interlace the fingers behind the left thigh. So I know I have dark pants on, so I'll try to face this way. So my hands are going to come through here and interlace behind this left leg. And then I'm going to bring the left knee towards the body. So both feet stay flexed. And then your shoulders are going to stay relaxed towards the mat. So kind of notice here, if your shoulders are crunched up by your face, or maybe your eyebrows are crunched up, your tongue is pressing on the roof of the mouth, try to relax all of that. You're probably feeling a good stretch on the outside of the right leg here. That's good. If you're not able to bring your leg all the way up, then just do the best you can. You can even just, take one knee up. Whatever you can do to find some sort of stretch, you're moving your body, and that's good. Take one more breath here. And then go ahead and bring the foot down. Bring the other foot down. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So left ankle to the right knee. And then interlace the fingers behind the right thigh. Hold on to that thigh and then try to bring it a little bit towards the body. I'm going to let you take 3 silent breaths here as you relax the muscles in the face and relax the shoulders. Go ahead and release. Bring the feet down to the mat. We're going to do a twist here, and then we'll be getting into a little bit of a guided relaxation at the end before we sit up in our meditation. So the right leg is going to come over. It's just going to cross over the left leg, just as if we were sitting in a chair. The arms are going to come out to the sides of the body, and then you're just going to drop those knees over to the left. Coming into a twist, try to keep the belly and all the muscles in the torso soft. You can even look over the right fingertips. Coming into a full spinal twist here. I'm going to take another breath or two. And then go ahead and bring the knees back to center. Unravel the legs. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So left leg comes over the right. And then drop the knees to the right. Look over the left fingertips. Find your breath. Don't forget to breathe here. Let's take one more inhale. Exhale. And then come back to center. Unravel the knees. You can bring the knees up to the chest and rock a little bit left to right. Massaging the lower back. And then when you're done rocking, you can bring the legs straight. Bring the arms overhead. Take a long, long stretch. Just take a very long, super long stretch. You can even circle the ankles and the wrists. And then when you're done with your stretch, I'm going to guide you through a relaxation before we do our silent meditation. So at the end of every single yoga practice, we do a shavasana, which is a corpse pose where we kind of release any old energy or old aches and pains. We kind of let them leave the body. We observe what's going on in the body. And then I'm going to instruct you to sit up, and then I'll guide you into sitting on your cushion or blanket, and then we will do our silent meditation. So go ahead and get comfortable. Lie down on your back. Your palms are going to be facing up, away from the body, and then the ankles will be apart, and let the feet hang out to the sides. You go ahead and stay lying like this. You can close the eyes if you want. And I'm going to get up so I can guide you through your relaxation. So once you're lying down on your back, go ahead and take a deep breath in. Separate the lips and exhale. We're going to do that 2 more times. Deep breath in. Exhale. 1 more time. Gather up any leftover stress or tension in the body as you inhale. And then as you exhale, let it leave the body. And then relax all the muscles in the face. Soften the shoulders. And allow the arms to release and get heavy, as if they're sinking right into the floor. Feel the muscles around the spine begin to release. As though with each exhalation you take, those muscles in the back are softening more and more away from the spine. And notice how this allows your hips to get heavy and your legs to get heavy, as if they're sinking right into the floor. Doing 1 more scan of the body from head all the way down to your toes, being sure you're releasing every muscle. So the work that you've just done can absorb into your body as we prepare for our seated meditation. Bring your awareness back to the breath. Each time you inhale, feel the cool air coming into the nose. Feel that air warm with the body, and then exhale. Just paying attention to the inhale and the exhale. If the mind begins to wander, come back to the breath. The rhythm going in and out. Take another breath or two here. And then slowly begin to bend the knees one at a time. Knowing that you don't have to rush. When you're ready, you can roll onto your right side and stay there for a few breaths. Use your arm as a pillow. Using this as a last moment to let go of anything that's no longer useful to you, that you've been carrying or that you brought into your day today. And so you can create space for what you do learn about your body this evening, or things that are useful to you. You can still keep the eyes closed here and let the head be the last thing that comes up as you safely push yourself up into a seated position. Take a breath or two, and then grab your blanket to begin our seated silent meditation. So if you have a blanket, you're going to want to fold it so you have a corner or something a little bit harder that you can sit on. If you're sitting on a pillow, it will be the corner or a harder piece that you can sit on. And what you're going to do is just sit in a cross-legged style, or you can line up the heels. And what we want to do is kind of scoot forward, almost like we're scooting off the pillow or blanket, so that our pelvis can tilt forward and it puts less pressure on our back. If you need to stack more pillows or more blankets, stack as many as you need to get that solid foundation. And what I'm going to do for these last 15 minutes or so is going to set a timer, and we're going to go into a regular silent meditation sit. And this is something that you can bring into your practice every day. And if you do practice something like this, even 5 or 10 minutes a day, you will notice that it starts to train the brain. You're going to be noticing you're reacting to stress differently. Maybe you feel less anxiety. It raises serotonin levels in the body. So all of these things are very useful. And of course, there's lots of scientific studies on the benefits of meditation that you can look up too. Again, you don't want to be in pain, but if you feel some discomfort, maybe your feet fall asleep, maybe you feel that ache in the back, maybe you get that itch on the cheek, I'm going to encourage you to not move, or to try to deal with it as long as you can. Because if we can let things pass, learn about that equanimity or that temporary, everything in life is temporary, this too shall pass. If we can do that on our cushion or as we sit, then it becomes easier off of the mat as well. So the brain will get excited, the brain will wander, come back to the breath. We just tell the brain, no, no, no. We're focusing on the breath. You ready to give it a try? Okay. Put your hands on your thighs. This will be the most comfortable thing to do, or you can grab the knees so you're not having to hold the shoulders up. Get grounded through the sitting bones. Sit nice and tall. Tilt the chin down just a little bit. You can close the eyes or just have a soft gaze on the floor. And then I'm going to start the timer here. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. and begin. Begin to deepen your breath. Very slowly open the eyes, blink the eyes open. You can undo your legs. You can move them around a little bit. Stretch the arms. And you can join me if you'd like by bringing your hands in front of your heart. I always close out my classes by asking you to first bow to yourself. For giving yourself this time tonight to learn something, to take self-care, to spend time with a loved one. Thank you for letting me guide you. The teacher in me honors and appreciates the teacher in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for having me. The 15 minutes felt like an hour, didn't it? Yeah. You can do it at any time you want, but that's when all the good stuff started. I'm going to stay around, and if you have any questions, just unmute yourself and I'll be here to answer any questions. I do teach yoga all the time, and I have a meditation club on Facebook. So I'm going to give that information to Marina. And if you like it, you can just ask her for it and she'll give it to you. Thank you so much.